Hola todos, welcome back to another episode of Charlitas, your guys' favorite podcast episode in the Pacific Northwest region, hopefully. This is episode number 7, in which we talk about our own lived experiences as young, beautiful people. Today, I will be your host, Sam. I hope you guys know my name by now. And I am here once again with my other mariposas. I'll start on this side.
Hi, my name is Alma. Hello, it's Pamela.
Hola, soy Luis.
Hi, I'm Jair.
And we are the Mariposas. As always, we want to give a disclaimer that we are not experts, and what we talk about in these episodes is information based on our own lived experiences. But for today, we have Machismo Parte 2. And if you guys remember, we had a Machismo Parte 1. I think it was back in April, and that was only with males on the podcast episode, and we thought it would be a good idea to bring in that female perspective for today's episode. And before we get started, we have a quick icebreaker. There's an online trend right now, and the question is man versus bear. Who would you guys choose? Alma?
I would choose bear because I'm thinking of Brother Bear.
She stole my line.
I think both the bear and man should be afraid of me. So,
Okay. I choose bears, and I will not explain myself.
Yeah, I just feel like depends on the man. Depends on the size of the fella. That's like, because you know what I mean? Like, I'm not big. I'm kind of small. But like, if it's like my size type of guy, then it's raps for them. You know what I mean? I'm a scrappy fighter. I will fight, like poke eyes and everything. So, yeah, I think I'm going man on this one. But if it's a big dude, then never mind. Then I'll be scared. No lie.
I would love to hang out with K9 and Coda.
They'll eat you like a chicken nugget, bro.
And I know that was very vague, like, what are you guys talking about? But if you guys are on social media like TikTok and search up man versus bear, you will quickly learn what the conversation is about. And we thought it was a good segue into today's conversation because it is about machismo, and that question stems or is part of that umbrella. Like I mentioned, habíamos tenido un episodio sobre machismo, part 1, and Luis and Jair were part of that episode. Can you guys tell us a little bit about what you guys talked about?
Yeah, I remember Eduardo mentioned about like his machismo point of view was like kind of like, I guess a little different since he was, because of his sexuality. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, a lot of people would force on him like, oh, you're a man, you should act this certain way. And like, he was like, oh, like, that's not me or not that.
Yeah.
And then Andy, I remember he mentioned about like his mom, like teaching him, he like quoted like, this stuff man should teach you, but like his mom, remember he mentioned that his mom taught about like mechanics and all that, and then like we're like, yeah, I thought that was cool.
Sí, en un resumen, porque ya ha pasado como 2-3 meses desde que tuvimos ese episodio. Habíamos también hablado, me acuerdo que hablamos mucho de nuestros papás y esa mentalidad que luego llegan a tener con el trabajo cuando se trata de trabajar, de que, o sea, por cómo crecieron o se trabajan todas sus vidas y luego ya llegan a un punto donde se tienen que retirar y luego ya no saben qué hacer. Y me acuerdo que habíamos hablado de eso y también habíamos hablado de nuestras relaciones con nuestros hermanos mayores, al menos nosotros dos que tenemos hermanos mayores, y de pues tal vez la carga que luego ellos tienen que cargar, siendo que son los más grandes y todas las experiencias por las que ellos pasan. Y luego pues nuestras propias experiencias viviendo aquí en los Estados Unidos, pero viniendo de una cultura diferente, y de cómo vemos la diferencia entre nosotros y tal vez gente de otras diferentes culturas aquí en Estados Unidos. Pero pues ese episodio era del punto de vista masculino, y me acuerdo que al final del episodio estábamos de que pues todavía nos falta hablar del punto de vista femenino, y por eso estamos aquí hoy. Aviso, voy a hablar más en español porque leímos sus comentarios, gente, y escuchamos sus súplicas, principalmente la de mi tía. Me quería que hablara más en español. Así que aquí estamos, ¿eh? Pero la pregunta que tenemos ahora, con la que vamos a empezar el episodio, es cómo se ha manifestado el machismo en la vida de las mujeres, en sus experiencias y todo eso. Así que,
Before we answer that question, we also want to say, like, if you guys haven't watched the Machismo Part 1,
oh yeah,
please do so. It's a really good episode. And you will hear more about what Luis and Jair just said. And then you can come back to this one and listen to what our perspective is on how machismo has manifested in our lives. And I think the first example that comes to my mind when I think about machismo is the way the gender roles that have presented itself, like in my own household. I'm the oldest daughter. I'm the only daughter. And I have two younger brothers. And it's definitely, it's funny because what I think about is like the chores that we had growing up. Y primero, because I'm the oldest, I was the only one that did chores, really, because my brothers were younger. Nos llevamos creo que 3 años. And so one of my chores back then was to take out the trash. And I hate taking out the trash. I just I'll do anything else but take out the trash. I just really hate it. And I remember begging my mom and my dad, like, please, like, can we pass it on to my brother now? He's old, he's 10, he can take out the trash, please. Because I really hated the taking out the trash. And because, like, my brothers no hacían nada en la casa. Like, come on, it's their turn to do something. Y luego is when, like, the chore shift happened. And now I no longer have to take out the trash. My brother does. But now my other brother is, like, now he has beef with my youngest sibling because he's like, I don't want to take out the trash anymore, make her younger. But there's definitely a difference between the chores that are assigned to me versus my brothers, because the chores that my brothers have is more como mantenencia, like maintenance of the cars, or like lo de afuera, como yard work and stuff like that, versus mine is more like cleaning inside, like deep clean the whole house or whatever. Ponte a hacer comida, or, you know, and yeah, there's like definitely a difference in that.
You mentioned like taking out the trash, and that's okay. So yo tengo un hermano y hay 11 años de diferencia. So I'm 22, guys, by the way.
Age reveal.
But there's like a decade gap right there. But it's so funny because as soon as he turned, I don't know, he started small. My dad would take him to work. That's another thing, that's the difference, right? My dad works in like hard labor, so he never took me to his job. Pero as soon as my brother hit an age, it was like 6, 7, ya lo llevaba. No hace nada, pero lo acompaña. So that's like a big difference, right? But my dad would be like, hey, you're at this age, you need to take out the trash. Because we also have to go outside, you know, and that's scary. But he always complains about doing one little task. Whereas like us, we're like doing all the house cleaning and stuff like that. And it's like, wow, the gender roles are like very there. But is it my parents' fault? I don't know. Maybe.
And that reminds me because, like, you know, now that I'm older and I have my own car, and my dad like, ponte las pilas, like, fíjate cómo se pone el aceite or whatever. But like growing up, I was never the one being taken out to like help him do the whole like oil change thing, it was my brother. And then he was like, pues no querías salir, no querías venir. And I was like, ¿para qué? You had my brother out there helping you. Plus, like, it was never, you never showed interest in wanting to teach me that, you know? Pero ahora que tengo mi carro, like, he's like, you know, like, it will benefit you to learn. And I was like, I wholeheartedly agree. Like, yes, I do need to know how to change my oil. I'll just have my brother do it. No, I'm just playing. But I don't know how machismo has like one example for you, Pamela.
I think for me, apart from the chores and the housework and everything, it's an education in la escuela. Like Alma said, we have a younger brother, and the age difference between us is like 7. And so yo he notado que yo de chiquita siempre mi mamá me decía, no, te tienes que poner las pilas en la escuela. You need to be top class, straight A, straight 10s, whatever, like the highest marks. And so, you know, I always had that pressure of like, okay, I need to be the best in school. Y ahora con mi hermanito, he still puts in that effort. Like, props to him. He's still doing really well. But my mom lo felicita por todo. Lo más básico, no manches. It was like, I did that same thing and you were like, no, you could do better. It's like, okay. So I can definitely see, like, she would always put me to read, like, a lot. She's like, no, you need to read, you read. This man complains about reading for 20 minutes. And it's like, come on, kid. Come on. But yeah, for me, it's the education and how, and I tell her, I'm like, pero ¿por qué no lo pones a mi hermano a hacerlo? A esa edad yo ya sabía hacer eso. She's like, es niño. Él, cuando esté más grande va a aprender. It's like, no, learn now. Yeah. It's going to benefit him to learn now. I learned at that age, but it's just, like you guys said, it's the difference in gender roles, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's another topic that we want to discuss, because the people on this side are the older siblings, like las tres mujeres aquí. We're oldest daughters, Alma and I, and then Pamela's the middle child. And then on that side with the males, they're the younger siblings. They're los bebés de la casa. And I think that plays like a huge role también in the way our own families like work, I guess. Mm-hmm. Right? Because like Pamela was mentioning, like the expectations and the pressure that's put on. And I think it has to do like, it does have to do a lot with you being the oldest daughter, but I mean the oldest, just like period, the oldest, porque, you know, maybe that's true for your guys' older brothers too. They have like certain expectations or pressure because they're the oldest. Pero también, you know, the whole like intersectionality thing, because también somos mujeres. And so those expectations and pressures, like, quieren una cosa, pero también quieren otra cosa. And then it's hard to please, you know? I don't know. Do your guys' older brothers have that expectation pressure as being the oldest or being the oldest males?
I feel like there is some sort of pressure, especially for him. But like, it wasn't, I guess, like, I don't know. I feel like, in my opinion, he helped my mom and dad with some stuff versus me, where I kind of helped them with other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm. It's like, bro, it's like different jobs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You want to go into detail of the jobs?
No, I mean, you don't have to.
Well, what is like one example?
Well, obviously, like we mentioned, the translator one, he was always like, you know, their main translator. I was always benched. But like, I guess maybe like for like cleaning, I don't know, maybe it's because I showed a bit more interest. I like, you know, like I would vacuum his room versus like, I'm pretty sure, I don't know, but I don't think he would vacuum my room. And, you know, I would help my mom, like, you know, occasionally like set up the table. Oh, here's an example. Whenever we come back from like the groceries, I'm always helping her, like, you know, unload stuff, like put them like where they need to be. No one else does that, but besides like me and my mom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was like one of the examples.
You mentioned like limpiando la cocina, all that, and that reminded me that like, still talking about gender roles, I usually clean the kitchen. But now that my brother is older, I'm like, hey, alza el plato. And he'll be like, and then I'll get mad at him. But he's learning.
Oh yeah, like my brother, like whenever I'm like, okay, if you don't want to wash it, it's okay. Like his dishes, but at least remember to like
Put it in the sink.
Put it in the sink and put water on it so it doesn't get sticky.
Oh, dude, that's the worst.
Yeah, my dad is like the worst at picking up his plate, and he just like leaves it at the dining table. And I'm always like, ¿de quién es este plato? Mío. Then why are you still eating? No. Entonces, ¿por qué está todavía la mesa? You know? Like, that expectation he has that it will always be picked up for
Can
him.
I ask a question?
Yeah.
Does he get defensive when you tell him, like, put it in the dishwasher?
He ignores it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've told him and I've reminded him so many times, and he's like, you know? And like, yes, Dad, I know you've had like a really hard day at work, like you're really tired and whatnot, but
I'm tired of washing the dishes.
but you know, like everybody should clean up after themselves, you know? I remember once, like a really, really, really long time ago, y no me acuerdo what it was, but I remember us having a conversation about like the importance of knowing life skills. And this like comes in with like machismo, because like sometimes women are the only like people who learn how to cook, you know, porque siempre están en la cocina con sus mamás. Y los hijos no, right? And then they grow up, they get married, it's always su partner who is cooking for them, you know? And I remember we had a conversation about how like, no, it's like really important for us, everybody in this table, regardless of, you know, male or female, to learn how to cook, because cooking is a life skill, you know? And it's like one of those skills that, like you need to have, because you need to learn how to take care of yourself, you know? Pero porque machismo has played a role into society, pues, you know, people have that view. I don't know. Sorry, that was like random, but I just like remembered that we literally have had this conversation before.
No, and like, I know Luis, you like to cook. Wait, do you? Or you just cook?
No. Pues sí me gusta cocinar, me gusta limpiar también, y creo que eso es algo pues que tal vez nació porque también somos los más jóvenes ahorita que estás diciendo eso. Que tú también haces lo mismo, que limpias, le ayudas con las verduras o el mandado. Y pues pasa lo mismo, que mi hermano no recoge su plato, o que nunca limpia y todo eso. Y pues él sí está trabajando, aunque yo voy a la escuela y también estoy aquí. Y también yo podría decir que hago más pero, o sea, también, o sea, lo entiendo. Y luego, pues también mi mamá es la única mujer. Y, o sea, pues ahí nos hacemos muchas bromas, y él también dice muchas bromas. Y luego está de que, pues no, pues yo trabajo todo el día. Pero pues yo le grito y todo eso. Y sí me enojo con él cuando no recoge su plato, lo que sea. Pero, no sé, yo sí siento que, o sea, cosas como saber cocinar, saber aspirar, saber limpiar, lavar la ropa, todo eso. O sea, siento que es algo que yo quiero aprender, porque pues le quiero ayudar a mi mamá, pero a la vez, o sea, veo la diferencia entre entre hombres que no saben hacer nada de eso. Y, o sea, no manchen, o sea, no les da vergüenza, o sea, no saber limpiar, no sé. O sea, no sé, yo quiero ser, o sea, una persona que pueda hacer todo. O sea, estoy trabajando y me gusta limpiar, me gusta barrer, me gusta cocinar, me gusta hacer todo eso, y a la vez, o sea, sé lo difícil que es trabajar, pero sé hacer las dos cosas, así que yo no lo veo como una excusa. Eso de, es que estoy trabajando, es que me partí el lomo. O sea, obviamente hay trabajos que sí te joden así bien feo, y no estoy diciendo de que, ponte, o sea, también hacer todo en la casa, pero así es como yo quiero estar, no sé. Es un estilo que a mí me gusta y sí.
Sí, son habilidades de la vida que se necesitan tener.
Pues sí, o sea, al menos en mi vida, o sea, no sé si ustedes ya luego, o sea, si tienen a alguien que les haga todo eso, pues qué padre, pero a la vez, o sea, no es el caso conmigo, no es el caso en mi familia, o sea, y me siento mal, no sé, a veces veo que mi mamá también trabaja y luego aparte nos tiene que lavar nuestros platos, limpiar nuestra ropa, pues no se vale también, así que también es otra razón que mi mamá trabaja. Saludos, mamá.
And I think also like it's played a huge role in the way that I like interact with my brothers too, or like even with my parents, on how like those expectations and pressures are similar, but they're also not similar at the same time. Because, por ejemplo, and this is like a huge one, que las mujeres no pueden tener novio hasta que tengan 50. Or like my dad has said, until you're dead. I was like, bro. Y luego, pero my brother? Oh.
¿Cuándo vas a traer la novia?
¿Cuántas novias tienes? You know?
Expose them right now. How many?
It's not do you have, like, ¿cuántas? How many do you have? And I'm like, oh. You know? Okay, I
Or
see.
también es cuando, like, I don't know about you, but mine is always like, ¿cuándo vas a traer la novia o con quién estás hablando? But as a girl, they're like, no puedes hablar con muchachos. No te acerques. No le veas. Ni volteas a ver el muchacho. No te das la idea. Because, like, no. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a huge one, and I know I'm not alone in that. Comment below, y'all, if y'all relate, because it's like, and I try to have conversations with my brothers about how frustrating it is for me to hear those types of things, and I mean, son jóvenes. My brothers are young, okay? Like, they got time to learn, and I do call them out on their stuff, but they're always like, what do you want me to do about it? I was like, defend me?
That's what I told my little brother the other day, because he made like a joke, and I was like, I forgot the joke, pero era que las mujeres están siempre en la cocina, and I was like, bro, do you see me in the kitchen all the time? He's like, no, tú trabajas, and good for you. And I was like, yeah, you have to start learning that, you know? So, y está chiquito, so he still has a lot to learn, you know?
And I think that brings up a very good point that we can't necessarily blame our younger siblings porque it's something that they were taught.
Yeah.
It's internalized. Like, así les enseñaron nuestros papás. No es su culpa. No, that's the only way they know how to, you know, function in that aspect. And so I'm not bashing him because, like Alma said, he is trying to learn. But, like, those differences in relationships are there.
Mm-hmm, definitely. In preparation for, like, este episodio, I did read like that, you know, children who grow up in a household that machismo like is really, really, really present, like big time, do internalize that and what they see around them as they grow up. Yes, I'm here talking about some experiences I've had about, you know, with machismo, but thankfully I've grown up in a household that machismo isn't so prevalent. Like, no, you know, my dad's not like machista, you know? But it's hard to, you know?
It's like generational too,
Yes,
you know?
that's
So, yeah, it's our parents, pero también sus papás de sus papás, you know? And it's hard to unlearn that, but one should do that, take that step to unlearn. Like, también mi papá, he respects like what I do, and he's not the type to be like enforce like marriage. Te tienes que casar con alguien para que. No, he's like, no, you can do it, and he supports. My dad's my number one supporter.
And it's really sweet that you have that relationship with your father, you know?
Yeah, but it's also sometimes I'm like, maybe it's just like a me thing, but I am the oldest and like la primera nieta, la primera. So I'm like, maybe he also had to learn that. He had to learn that with me. I know he always wanted a boy, and he got that, but I was his first girl. So he had to learn that with me, and I'm glad that he doesn't project a lot of that machismo. That's why I love my dad. because he is a supporter, you know? And so, but he also, I know he had to learn that. And sometimes, yeah, se le escapa like
Sí.
a little machista comment, but then I think he like thinks about it and then he's like, no. He's like, you got this. And I was like, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Like, do you feel that was Dad?
Oh, 100%. Like you mentioned, he's always like, si no te quieres casar, no te cases. Tú así solita. Pero échale ganas al estudio, porque tú sí puedes. Like, I know he didn't have the opportunity, you know, to get higher education allá en Mexico. And he's like, no, pues tú puedes, tú, lo que quieras. I know recently I decided to, you know, and I'm going to study mechanical engineering. I'm diverging from biology. And he's like, and I was like, I'm scared because it's like male dominated. And like, I don't know what's going to happen. He's like, tú puedes mejor que los muchachos. O sea.
Look at us.
Oh, I'm coming for you guys.
Like, this is your
for real.
competition.
Yeah, for real.
I'm just kidding.
No, but yeah. And like Alma said, because it's very hard to unlearn, you know, that whole concept of machismo because, like, you know, his parents taught him then, sus papás de sus papás. Y si se le sale un comentario, and sometimes I'm like, oh, let's not say that. Let's think about that for a second. Let's put on our thinking caps. Yes. And think about that for a second. But he's trying. And I know compared to, like, other people, like, my dad is, like, a teddy bear.
Oh, I feel the same way about my dad, and I'm always like, aren't you so thankful that you have me as your oldest daughter? Because like that, you know, that reminds me of how like I'm always reminding my parents, or I'm always telling them, I was like, ¿quién los va a cuidar cuando ustedes estén más viejos? ¿Mis hermanos o yo? And I'm always like, me. Remember that. Okay? Remember that, guys.
I know, I always joke with my mom porque le burlamos que mi hermano es el preferido because pues, es el bebé, ¿no? Y siempre quería niño. And she's always like, cuando esté vieja me vas a cuidar, ¿verdad? I'm like, ahí está tu favorito, que él te cuide. But like, she knows he's not gonna do it. O sea, that's what she's asking me.
Eso también me recuerda que when my mom, you know, got married and was ready to have kids, she never wanted to have like a girl. She never wanted to have a girl. And she always says, de mala suerte me tocó la primera una niña.
Tell me why my mom said this. And we had a conversation too, and I was very upset. But as I'm older, I'm like, you know what? I kind of get it.
Yeah.
And sorry, but like that kind of led to me to now like have the conversation where it's like, I don't want to have kids. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, the eldest daughters, that's like what it comes down to because they go through all of this, right? And so they don't want to have kids. And that comment, I was like, that's funny because that's what my mom told me too. Y me puse triste. But hey, I'm here now.
We're here. ¿Querías decir algo, Pamela?
Ya se me olvidó.
Oh. But yeah, like, she's like, first, I didn't want girls, and the first one to be born was a girl. Y pues ya que. And I was like, dang.
Y le salió la mejor.
But, you know, she explained that, like, because it's so hard to raise a girl. And I think she knows that best porque ella creció en una casa with like 7, 8 sisters and only 2 brothers. And so, you know, with so many, like growing up with women all around you, like best believe you know what you're talking about, ¿saben? And that's why she didn't want a girl. And then she got a girl. So she kind of manifested that by putting it out in the universe. ¿Sus mamás querían niños?
Sí, mi mamá siempre he querido una niña. Siempre nos dice, pero pues...
Pues ya que...
Pero pues sí, ya que dice, bueno, al menos te tengo a ti, Luis. Y yo, está bueno, pues. Sorry, can I comment on something real quick? Estaban hablando sobre eso de relaciones como entre... Cómo se ve la diferencia entre... O sea, un papá diciéndole a su hijo... o sea, ¿cuándo? O sea, como empujándolos animándolos a que tengan novia y todo eso. Y no solo el papá, o sea, la cultura en general, o sea... y pero con las hijas es diferente. Estaba teniendo una conversación con mi papá el otro día y, o sea, estábamos hablando de algo similar. Estábamos hablando de algo similar y luego estábamos hablando y él me dijo que él estaba hablando con mi abuela y que él le estaba preguntando a mi abuela por qué mi papá no, o sea, mi abuelo, por qué él no le advirtió a mi papá de hacer ciertas cosas, de tomar ciertas decisiones con respecto a relaciones. Y luego él se dio cuenta y él me dijo, o sea, que era por la cultura de antes. O sea, esto del machismo ahorita lo estamos hablando y creo que gracias a Dios está cambiando. Esto ya, o sea, el machismo ya no es algo que nos afecte, que creo que nos esté afectando así súper fuerte como era antes en los tiempos de, por ejemplo, de mi papá. Y él me decía, pues es que eso era antes. O sea, antes si tenías más mujeres, o sea, eras más hombre. Y él me estaba diciendo, o sea, así que mi papá nunca me advirtió por eso. Y obviamente, o sea, pues tuvo sus consecuencias y todo eso, pero pues aprendió de eso y ya por eso él me estaba diciendo a mí, me estaba diciendo, o sea, que pues yo podía hacer la diferencia en eso. Y sí, nada más quería añadir eso. Sorry.
No, you're
So did your mom want daughters?
They had my brother who's older, and yeah, I'm pretty sure they wanted, like, you know, to balance him out with a girl. And then, surprise, surprise, I was supposed to be a girl, but then they were like, oh, look, he has male genitals, and he's like, look, he's a boy. I guess the ultrasounds didn't work that well.
Well, it was funny because me contaron que a mí pensaron que iba a ser niño. So on all my baby pictures, I have like boy clothes. But hey, you know, that's funny.
I don't have a sister. And if you know me, you know how much I like wished to have a sister since I was very younger. Like any movie that shows a wonderful sister relationship makes me cry because I've always felt like I've been missing have a missing part of me because I've always wanted a sister. And that's not saying I don't like my brothers. Like, I love my brothers. I just wish I had a sister to go along this ride with me, porque I would also always see both of my brothers get along really well, and I was like the odd one out at times. And I was like, oh, if I had a sister, you know, I would be right there with my sister, and like we would, you know. And then as I grew older, then I was like, I wish I was a man. Like, I wished I was a male, because then that way I would have a closer relationship to my brothers. And I don't think this is true for, you know, every family like that, but maybe era porque crecí with like all those like expectations and like whatever, and like you're the oldest, but you're not only the oldest, you're also the oldest daughter. And so yeah, I was like, oh, should have been born a man. Then I would be right there with my brothers playing los carritos chocones, but pero no se hizo. I'm the only daughter.
I had a similar experience porque, like I mentioned, mis papás siempre querían niños, ¿no? Y pues tuvieron a Alma, and then they were having me. And, like, I know my dad wished I were a guy. And I remember when I was little, I also wished I were a guy because I was like, veo cómo es la relación entre mi papá y mi hermano. And it's like, sorry, I disappointed you.
And it makes you wonder, like, how would you look at my accomplishments if I were a
Si
man?
hubiera sido niño.
Yeah, you know,
no,
like,
exactly. And it's like, I don't know. I still think about it. Like, if I would have been a boy, like, me and my dad are close. Don't get me wrong. Like, we're really, really close. I love my dad. Pero if I would have been a boy, it was like, I would have been the one he would be taking to work. And it's like, I don't know. It's always in the back of my mind. I was like, but then I asked him, I was like, "But did you want me to be a boy?" And he's like, "No." I was like, "Okay, I know you're lying, but."
since we were kind of on the subject, I think I asked my mom, like, would you have treated me a bit different if I was a girl? And she was like, for sure. Like, she was like, well, like, I kind of like asked her, like, oh, would you have forced me to clean more if I was a girl? And she's like, oh, yeah. Because, like, I feel like her mentality for us was kind of like, just like learn how to clean up after yourself, learn how to make food for yourself, versus like, you know, me, like I always kind of like ask her like, oh, like, do you want me to help you with anything? And she's like, no, you'll do it wrong, like lo haces mal, or no sirves para eso. And like for me, like the whole like cooking and cleaning thing, I would kind of like force her to kind of teach me. Like I was the one that wanted to learn. Like me and my brother were the ones that wanted to learn how to make tortillas, because we would always kind of just like take over. And like clean and stuff. She'd be like, estás haciendo mal, ya quítate.
Yeah. It's like la diferencia entre, you know, they teach a guy so that they take care of themselves, you know? But then they teach a girl to take care of somebody else as they're older, porque the expectation is for you to get married and for you to take care of your partner and for you to pick up their plate after the table, you know? But I don't want to do that. And yeah, I don't know.
It comes back to like you, I don't know, to that decision of like motherhood or your career.
Yeah.
And I think that's sucks.
Also true, because now we're like in a state of, you know, what do I want my future to look like? Like I asked my brothers, les pregunto a mis brothers, like, do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids? And their answer, both of them, is yes. Yes, I do. I do want to get married and I want to have a family and I want to have kids. And they're like, and my whole family knows that I don't. At least right now, my answer is no, I don't want to have kids because I'm not willing to sacrifice, you know, motherhood or my career. Like, yeah, like it's so hard. And it's because like, they've been, like, you can't win. It's a lose-lose situation. They want you to be a mother, but they also want you to have a career. And it's like, I can't have both because then I won't be good in both, you know? Like, se puede, pero es super difícil to do so. And for my brothers, it's not, because they're growing up with the idea that when it's time to like, you know, get a family or whatever, they're gonna be the breadwinner, and they're gonna have la mamá en la casa. Like that's their idea, you know. But I don't know.
It's gender roles, but it's okay because we're unlearning. That's like a big part, you know.
And what Jair dijo lo de su mamá, like if you were to treat me differently if I was a girl, that's another question that we want to talk about. Like, can women be machista? You know? And the answer is
yes.
Yes, they can. And it goes back to that internalized. Like, that's how they learned to function in a family setting. Like, that's how they were taught. And I think going back to the question of motherhood, I think that's the main reason why I don't want to have kids, because I know that I grew up with that mentality as well. Like, that some ideas were passed on to me, right? And I'm scared of passing that on unconsciously to my children. And I don't want them to grow up with that idea that, like, no, las mujeres en la cocina limpiando y toda la casa y los hombres se vayan a trabajar. I'm just scared that I'll do it unconsciously or without knowing it. And I don't want that. That's scary.
And, like, you know, las mujeres, look at society around us, you know, like it's the patriarchy. Like it's what we've had to grow, and we'd have to like navigate our way through it. And I forgot what I was gonna say.
Well, navigate through life, but that reminded me of la película de Barbie que salió. And how it showed, you know, women can be like all these different roles in society, right? I thought that was very cool that they're they're using social media and, you know, those platforms to kind of break barriers. So I thought that was cool. And that what you were saying just reminded me of that. Sorry if that was off topic.
No, you're good. Hay una frase, there's a phrase, it's like, calladita me veo más bonita, or calladita te ves más bonita, like, which translates to, if you stay quiet, you look prettier. Or if I stay quiet, I look prettier. And that's una frase that, like, stems from this, you know, ideology del machismo, porque it like silences women's voices. Do you feel silence? Sorry, that's a reference to a meme. And it silences women. Like, it encourages them to not speak up for themselves, to not advocate for themselves. Like, no pueden tener una opinión, basically, you know? And I've heard that, I don't know if you guys have heard that phrase, but I've heard that phrase, like, growing up. I've been told that phrase. And I think it's, as I've gotten older, it's become even more relevant to, you know, any school or any academic or professional setting where, like, it's like, maybe I shouldn't say something because why should I? You know? I don't know, like, it won't matter, I guess. And I think it's even, then we have to add on, like, the whole different layer of, like, you're not only a woman, but you're a Latina woman. And how much weight does your voice even matter in those type of settings, ¿saben? I don't know. ¿A ustedes les han dicho
Yes,
esa
I've
frase?
gotten that.
Yeah?
Really?
Calladito te ves más bonita.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, my mom says it to everyone.
Your mom's like, silence everyone. ¿Tú?
I mean, pues nada más de chiste, o sea,
The
también,
chiste,
o sea,
that's the difference.
pues nada más de chiste, o sea, pues.
For me, it's because I was
Good call
annoying.
out, Sam.
For you, it was what, Jair?
Because I was being annoying.
Oh, because you were being annoying? Wow.
Or
Whoa.
or like, I guess, what was I going to say? You can go.
Bueno, exactamente, o sea, yo lo veo como, o sea, no lo veo de la misma manera que ustedes lo ven, ¿verdad? Y yo lo puedo ver como un chiste, pero para ustedes puede significar algo mucho más que solo un chiste. O sea, yo, pues, mi mamá me lo dice y a mí qué, ¿verdad? Pero, yeah. Oh, I had a good point, or like something I wanted to say.
I didn't remember mine.
Okay.
I guess, like, to not be, like, as problematic.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you know, to, I guess, not speak your truth.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, like, you know, to not get anyone mad.
Mm-hmm. The people pleaser in us.
Yeah.
That's where it stems from.
No, es que se me olvidó lo que iba a decir.
Oh.
Going back to the Barbie comment I made. Y ahorita es que estaba diciendo de que te ves bonita. That also reminded me of, like, clothing-wise. Like,
Sí, cierto.
I'm not a dress girly. I'm trying to be a dress girly, but I don't feel comfortable yet. And so I wear jeans, but then sometimes it's like, you're a girl. You should wear a dress. And it's like, and that's, I don't know. That's like another stereotype thing.
Also, kind of, you know, the victim blaming that goes into it, where in como en casos de, like, sexual harassment or whatever, like, or like the girl was asking for it because she was wearing this or that, or but we know that's not true because regardless of the clothing
They
that
should
the
wear
people,
whatever they feel comfortable
yeah, and
in.
they should, yeah, people should wear what they're comfortable in, you know, but, and that's not, like, the main factor. That's not the reason why people are sexually harassed, you know? It's not what the girls are wearing, which I think that also is an example of how women can be machista, because there's a lot of women who do, you know, victim blaming like that.
Shame.
Yeah, who shame. Even las, you know, las mamás or whatever, as, like, girls are walking by or whatever, and then they make comments like, oh my God, look at her shorts or like her dress. They're so short or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, I got one. They're like, no les da vergüenza.
Yeah, like no les da vergüenza, and it's like it's nearly 100 degrees out. Like what? Like it's so hot. But then the guys, they can wear their jeans all the way to their knees, and everybody's like,
That's
nice.
okay. Yeah.
The fit.
The fit.
Y luego también there's another topic of like girls girl. You know, have you guys heard about girls girl? Have you guys heard about what a girls girl is?
No.
I think you should break it down for them.
A girl's girl is like, es una girl who like supports or like, you know, will always defend women or whatever. Like, you know, kind of, we can talk about like how feminism, I guess, ties into that as well. But there's this huge thing where like people are like, I'm not a girl's girl because I don't defend all women because of this and that or whatever. Or like, oh, you're not a girl's girl because you do this and that or whatever. Y una gente, it's like usually like the friends that they carry around, like como some women think they're kind of like superior or whatever because their friends are mostly men or whatever. And because they know how to talk to men and they can get along with men or whatever, and other girls can't do that, you know? Like that's that's what I've seen a lot on TikTok, where some girls try to shame other girls for not
What though?
for just
Oh, for defending all women?
no for not like having friendships with men or whatever, if that makes sense.
And for like quote unquote liking feminine centered stuff.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, kind of like, there's like, I don't even know why this exists, but actually, like, I grew up hating the color pink because that was too feminine. Like, that was too feminine. And I was like, I'm not like those girls. They like pink. I don't like pink. And now I'm like, what? I love pink. Me too.
Like, actually, hold on.
I wish I was covered in pink. And it stems from like not wanting to be perceived as such. Like, I wanted to be one of the guys, you know, or whatever. And I wasn't a girl's girl back then. And now I'm like, why?
Like, that was kind of cringy on my part.
Yeah, that was internalized machismo,
okay.
you know? And there's that whole thing where like some women shame women because they like the color pink or because they like to dress really feminine or because they, you know, they don't have lots of guy friends or whatever. Yeah.
Really? I get it.
I bet you guys didn't even ever think about that, huh?
I get it now.
I've thought about it.
Oh, thanks, Jair.
Well,
Jair's a woman supporter.
Actually, yeah, that brings up like I'm curious. What do you guys think about us as our friends?
You guys are cool.
Let's unpack that. No.
You guys are cool.
Oh, we just get a cool. Okay.
Not even like smart.
Yeah, all that.
Notice how you didn't bring up like academically wise.
I was gonna say like
Compliment my brain right now.
What you about to say?
like I've learned a lot of like stuff from y'all that I haven't like learned from my mom, from like the women's perspective and all that. Part of it could be machismo. A lot of it's age thing.
Creo que lo que más me gusta es que pues podemos, o sea, tener pláticas y sí, siempre estamos aprendiendo algo nuevo. Algo que la gente a veces me dice, o sea, cuando les explico, tengo, por ejemplo, estaba hablando con alguien el otro día y le digo, tengo un grupo de amigos. Y dice, qué chido. Y ¿qué onda, Juan? O sea, asumen que son todos hombres y les digo, no, pues, o sea, son dos mujeres en el grupo. O bueno, 3 mujeres ahora. En el grupo. Y luego, ok. Y luego dicen, ¿y a poco nada más? O sea, ¿son amigos? Y, o sea, siempre asumen que tiene que haber algo romántico o que los hombres en el grupo quieren, o sea, quieren... O sea, que hay otras intenciones, ¿verdad? Y, ok, sí, pasa. Eso suele pasar mucho, ¿verdad? Pero siempre se me hace, o sea, eso raro de que no puedo tener una relación, o sea, de amigos con una mujer. O por qué eso es algo que también la gente lo ve como muy... O sea, de que, o sea,
Or like, you're like, como,
nada más, o sea...
you're only friends with them because they're pretty
no
or
quieres
something
ser
like
eso,
that.
o sea, tú estás buscando algo más, me dicen, y luego digo, no, pues, o sea, la verdad es que, o sea, pues que no, o sea, nada más somos amigos, o sea, hemos sido amigos por años y eso es algo que siempre me andan diciendo, en especial, pues, hombres y todo eso, así que no sé si ¿cómo ustedes, o sea, qué les dicen sobre, o sea, de que somos un grupo de hombres y mujeres, o sea...
Yeah, well, mi propio hermano, he has told me ha dicho que he wishes that he had a friend group that was mixed. Porque he's like, you know, I see you in your friend group and you guys are like both boys and girls, and I wish I had a friend group like that because I feel like that's missing, like the female perspective, I guess, or in the female friendship, because I think holds a lot of value, I guess. I don't know. Pero yeah, mi brother me ha dicho que, you know, he wishes he had a mixed friend group.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, it's like, I'm glad that we're a mixed friend group, right? Because mi hermanito está chiquito, so I don't get that perspective, but being friends with you guys, I get, you know, that perspective, that insight. Something's not good. Sometimes you guys learn more from us, but it's fine, I guess. I think there also been times where like, oh, is one of them your boyfriend? And it's like, no.
Oh, yeah.
Pero no es de familia. I don't talk to other people. I don't get that much as what you were saying. So.
And I think together, we're all unlearning behaviors.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think over time nosotros we've been really good at like communicating, yeah, and like, you know, setting those boundaries. Wait, you don't think we're good at it's a work in progress.
I'm not good at communicating. So,
Hey,
but,
you said it.
Learning. But I know it. But we learning though.
We are unlearning toxic behaviors.
I wish I had a sister.
You wish you had a sister.
I feel like our family dynamic would have been different.
You definitely, yeah,
For sure.
It definitely would have. But
Hey. Aquí tienes.
yeah, honorary sisters.
No, nada más tienes
está.
una. Tienes tres.
Ahí están. Yo estoy-
And that's how we are unlearning behaviors through our actions and words, right? Right. Actually, tú ya tienes una hija. I'm your goddaughter.
Oh.
Por los que no saben, if you guys didn't know, Alma and Jair are my padrinos. So I'm their goddaughter.
And I'm proud of you, Sam.
Me too, Sam.
No, say I'm proud.
I'm proud.
Breaking that generational cycle, y'all. That trauma cycle.
Hey, y si tienes hermana también, entonces.
Oh,
You guys never mind. Like everything is fixed. Like I no longer have internalized anything. Like I have everything right here at this table.
that means thank you.
You guys, that was the cue to start crying.
Wait, I got a little teary-eyed, I won't lie.
I think we want to end this episode on a really like chill and happy note about how we encourage everybody to unlearn these behaviors and these habits and these attitudes. Sabemos que es difícil, you know.
And I mean, we're not experts, you know? This is
And
just
we're not
our
experts,
personal
yeah.
lived experiences, how we see it. I'm waiting for you guys to cry.
I thought it was a yawn.
They were supposed to show that it was okay for men to cry.
Oh, my dad
Because
cries all the
that's super
time.
valid. Pero es que ellos nunca lloran. They're really strong. They're thick skin.
Es por el trauma.
Hey, but
No nos
we're
dejaban
Future
llorar.
episode.
we're helping, you know, that internalization.
It's
right,
okay.
right, Luis?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
Jair?
yeah.
Yeah. And la misma manera en que nosotros tenemos conversaciones, we encourage our listeners to have conversations, to reflect, right? Reflect on, what did you grow up seeing and how it has affected you? And what can you do about it now that you're older? Any last notes on machismo?
Oh, I did want to say one thing. As I got older, I've kind of I don't know, I've told my parents this, but teach me all the life skills that you have.
Both of them.
Yeah, don't leave me with anything.
Yeah, both of them, for sure.
Because I don't want to be limited in life.
Thanks, Jair, for that. And with that, we really want to thank you all. Right, guys? Say thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you. Gracias a
Gracias.
todos nuestros listeners. Everybody who supports us, we really, really, really appreciate it. We appreciate every like you leave, every comment you leave, every subscriber, follower on all our platforms.
Also, shout out to all of those. I know because we have tabling events, and so many of you guys come up to us and we're like, "Oh, we watch your podcast, o vemos los episodios y siempre nos gusta sus antenitas." Shout out to you guys. I love you. Please come up to us if you see us and give us feedback or talk to us because I really love that, and it makes me feel like what I'm doing is actually reaching people and it's helping them, and I just love it. So thank you.
And thank you to the Anatai Foundation.
Thank you very much to the Anti Foundation. We would really appreciate if you guys drop an emoji, a heart, maybe a smiley face, maybe even a star, because I think we deserve gold stars. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. But also, we would really, really, really appreciate, if you guys gave your own opinion, your own insight onto what we discussed today. And could we have, what do these future conversations entail? And how, what is maybe one way that you unlearn these behaviors and these habits that we have? We would love to read your guys' thoughts down in the comments. Send us a message, a DM. Our platforms are linked on our flow code, which you will find down in our description. It will be linked below. And we would just want to say, keep learning.
And unlearning.
And unlearning. Thank you to our beautiful listeners.
Cuídense. Bye.
This episode was brought to you by Latino Leadership Northwest and funded by Anatai Foundation.